Welcome. So you've started your psychology-based empowerment course with me, and thanks for joining. This will be your first video in an instalment of around 5. You'll be able to find these videos on your integration weeks. I'm really excited about this journey with you because these are things that I'm passionate about. Hopefully they're going to bring you change in your life, they're going to bring you more harmony, and they're going to bring you more space so that you can reflect and be the deeper you, not just that reactive mind. We're going to look at how perhaps your childhood has shaped the person you've become, look at some of how your beliefs have been creating your world. We're really going to delve down and give you space so you can come away from yourself, help you to reframe, challenge and move above any disempowered feelings. The word ego literally just means the known self, the image that you hold of yourself. It's that idea of your personality, is who you think you are really on a conscious level. And it's a model that's used these days quite frequently in therapy, and it's called transactional analysis. It's a modernised version of his structure of the psyche, and it goes parent, adult, child. So there we can see again that energy of the superego being parental, and the adult being our known ego self, and then our child. It also goes further to say in transactional analysis that we not only have a superego, we have this idea of a critical parent, but then on the other hand we also have a nurturing parent. And this idea that based on perhaps our childhood, we have these different ways internally of responding to ourselves and to others. A meeting with the self can be quite profound for some people, and it can mark a phase of crisis or moments of weird situations and happenings in your life that can just unravel. The self is tucked away in your unconscious, meaning that it's something so profound. It's the part of you that could be. It's the part of you that has the greatest potential. So, looking at the phrases inner child and inner critic, which you may now have some introduction to, what really happens on a daily basis between this inner child feeling and what we would call the critical adult? Because it's like your instincts, instinctual self that has feelings which you can't really class as right or wrong, they just exist like a child would. A child, when they're growing, has feelings. They're not right or wrong, they just are. And your inner child still operates inside you. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still intrinsically connected to your being. And the moment that you kind of open that door and you start saying hello and working with your little one, it can feel really quite a revelation in a way. It can also be difficult at times because the child might not be trusting you if you haven't really taken care of your child or you haven't listened before. Developing this relationship can take time. So what we want to look at is how can we change these inner relationships so that you are actually on your own side. If you were going for your own coaching, what would your coach be saying to you? Because the kind of things that you would be hearing wouldn't be the things that your own inner critic will be saying to you. So we have the power to influence and affect either of these aspects. And one of the greatest ways to do that is look at what your inner child is saying and what your adult mind self is saying. See if you can get them working together and see how calm and how solid and balanced you feel in your body once you're really aware in any one moment of what's going on. So when your adult disconnects, you go into a protective state. You think you're protecting yourself by keeping yourself away from these feelings you don't want to feel. But actually, the process of getting back to yourself or feeling secure inside or feeling able to cope will just diminish. This inner bonding act that we want to look at is the opposite. At any one time in your life, a situation can arise where your inner child is trying to tell you something. You can make the decision to listen and find out what it's about. Therefore, you can take appropriate action on behalf of your inner child. If you're in that positive adult space, then you're the only one, your mind and your logical adult self is the only part that can take action for the inner child. If she or he is not being listened to, then how on earth can you take care of his or her needs out in the world?
Now we've talked a little bit about the Enneagram, I'm going to go into some more depth so you can really get in touch with the types, really clarify what type you think you are, and also have an idea about the people around you and what types they may be. Because each of these Enneagram types are linked to a centre, an emotional centre, and this can be another really good way for you to work out your type, because there's an underlying emotion that's linked to the type, and this underlying emotion is really something that we don't want to feel. We want to avoid that feeling, so we've kind of based our personality on a way of being which keeps us away from that feeling which we're trying to avoid. They are motivated by the need to live their life by the right way, including improving themselves and the world around them. Twos are motivated by the need to be loved and valued, to express their positive feelings toward others. Traditionally, society has encouraged two qualities in females more than males. So looking at their best, their best sides are that they're very loving, they're caring, they're adaptable, insightful, generous, enthusiastic, and they're really tuned into how people feel. It's that kind of really empathic type. Just thinking about how these things resonate with you in terms of your idea of yourself, and especially the people around you, because it can be a really useful tool to really come to understand the people around you. Welcome to your video podcast about meditation. Just sitting somewhere where you can relax and listen to this, because we're going to also do a little bit of practice meditation. In the end, you won't really even need to meditate so much, or you maybe still will, but the meditation practice will bleed into your actual life, and that energy and that space that you can be with whilst in meditation will then be able to be accessed as you're going about life. Often it's a very healing state, and it's a non-stressed, non-reactive place, and the benefits of doing this mean that literally you'll be able to be less reactive to other people's drama, to other people's ego dynamics and their personality, that you'll be able to develop such a strong core, just as if you were doing Pilates or yoga and you're working on the physical core. It's the spiritual core, and it's this feeling place of connecting with the deepest you, so that when you do have interactions with people and situations, and when challenges come up in your life, yes, they're still challenging, and there'll be emotions and thoughts that go with that, but all of a sudden you'll find that you have far greater ability not to react in a negative way or an unhelpful way. So as you draw your attention to any thoughts into the mind, and you're still bringing in that awareness, the deeper you arising, you might like to feel your body. There are two things going on. You're aware of your mind, the thoughts, and you're aware of this practice of going within and developing more space. And I'm breathing out. So in this process, as you're thinking, there may be thoughts about your life coming up, and that may then channel a feeling inside you, and then you'll be with the feeling. So now if you've had another thought about something in your life, something good's come into your mind about yesterday. So you're thinking, happiness, excited breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, space, because I'm developing space. So we're just going to take another breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. Just relaxing. Hi, and welcome to your video podcast number 4. So in more depth, Graves classified a total of 8 levels of increasingly complex human value systems, consisting of hierarchically ordered, always open to change, a set of identifiable worldviews, preferences and purposes. It helps you and us to understand your worldview.
Not everyone holds the same worldview as you do. That's how it can make relationships often difficult. It can help us learn about particular thinking systems, how each person is thinking differently. It helps us to understand behavioural styles. It also helps to uncover your true motivations. It can help with communication between individuals and groups. Equally, it helps you understand your particular learning approach, and it can help you to know how best to organise yourself. I find that spiral dynamics helps us to convey the many stages of evolution of our society, and particularly the stages of consciousness. It explains our developmental awareness. It can describe personal shifts in how we relate to ourselves and the world around us. And so red is impulsive and egocentric. Life is a battleground. Motivated to please the self. Red expects everything and gives nothing. It demands and not earns attention. This worldview would feel no guilt or no remorse, wants to beat everything and outfox everything. And there is a great need to dominate others. What we believe, we become. Beliefs affect our behaviour, and our behaviour is really then about the actions that we take. If you believe that you can do something, the likelihood is that you will. I've had practice majorly over the last few years of my life of challenging ideas that I had, especially in the area of health and in many other areas. And when you set out with the question, is this possible? And then you go from that point and go ahead and try with certain strategies to help you, and sometimes just feeling the feelings that come up, and fear and resistance is often always one. Things actually improve. You steadily learn how to ignore, block out, and go beyond these old jibes, these put down fears, this can't do kind of backlash. So if you don't aim for anything, if you don't try at all, you won't get any of the work. So you cannot lose in this game of change, transformation.